All right, let's discuss this now with FF Plus leader and Tshwane Coalition spokesperson, Dr Corné Mulder. Dr Mulder, good morning and thank you very much for your time. So you have raised suspicion around Mr Makwarela's ability to produce this letter now, whereas the city manager had been requesting it for a bit longer. Just talk to us about your suspicions. What's going on?
Yes, we are very concerned about the documentation that is now being provided by Dr. Makwarela. It may be the case that they may be legitimate, we don't know, but it seems that there are some serious problems in this instance. If you look at the specific court order that was produced by Dr. Makwarela or given to the municipal manager, a number of things that jumps out is not normal. For example, the citation in the court document refers to the North Court of South Africa. There's no North Court of South Africa.
Yes, quite confusing. I saw that as well.
And there are a number of other issues. There's a number of other issues as well. But what is more alarming is the following. There you can see it for yourself. On the right-hand side, you'll see what the court order is supposed to look like. And on the left is this that is now being produced by Dr. Makwarela. You'll even see that his surname is spelled wrong on the second document, the one on the left. You'll also see there's a case number there. It must have a case number. Now, the case number is the original case number that was used in the sequestration application way back in 2016. This is a completely new court application with a new case number, but the same case number is being used here on this document. Also, the stamp at the bottom, there's supposed to be a different stamp that was brought into the practice of how these things are done with in October of 2017, 5-6 months before this date of 2018. So there are a number of problems. But even going beyond the document itself, I have a document written by the trustee to the insolvent account of Dr. Makwarela, dated yesterday, that indicates that the process has not been concluded in terms of the attempt to rehabilitation. There's some outstanding things happening and there's no finality in that. I also have information that the certain attorney, Mr. James Ndebele, was contacted 2 days ago by Dr. Makwarela and he was asked to bring an urgent court application for rehabilitation. Now, it's not possible. You can't bring an urgent application for rehabilitation. There's a process in terms of the Insolvency Act that takes years to complete to be rehabilitated. I don't know what was required in that meeting. All I know is that the mandate of the attorney, James Ndebele, has been terminated, is not being paid either. And I think it most likely because he received the advice that such a thing is not possible. It doesn't work that way. Then a miracle happened.
Can I just interject there? So with an urgent application, in that instance, it means it would ultimately deny creditors the opportunity to actually bring in any objections because you would have to gazette the estate. So if you did it on an urgent basis, what then happens?
Exactly, you can't. There's no such procedure to bring that on an urgent basis because you've got to go through the normal processes in terms of the Insolvency Act, and you've got to advertise, you've got to give an opportunity for creditors to bring their claims, etc., etc. So that has not been completed. But what is worse, even if it's possible, how is that going to assist you because you needed to be rehabilitated way back before the November 2021 election? So if you're only trying now to bring an urgent court application, that's just an acceptance of the fact that you've not been rehabilitated when the election took place in November 2021, which means you cannot be a councillor and you cannot be elected to be the mayor. So this is very concerning. And the further point, the documentation I have from the trustee in this account indicates that in terms of the Insolvency Act, at the end of that process, a report is drafted by the trustee. That report is then sent to the Master of the High Court, who drafts a further report to give all the information. Both those reports go to the court itself in the application, and the judge will then look at those reports before any order is issued. In writing, I have a confirmation that no such report was drafted in this case. As a matter of fact, the trustee is preparing to have the second liquidation account published for comment, etc., etc. So there are huge problems from that perspective, never mind if you look at the alleged court order itself. So I think we've got a huge problem that we need to deal with now.
So this goes beyond the initial removal of the mayor, because I had listened to some interviews that you had conducted. You were saying at the very least you'd probably have to repay council all the money. But now, if there's an allegation of that court order being doctored, then this could mean criminal charges.
Absolutely, there's no doubt. With all due respect, I hope for Dr. Makwarela's sake that this is a big misunderstanding, that there's no truth in all of this, because if it's not the case, we are talking about fraud, we are talking about defending the needs of the purpose of justice here. It's got huge implications. It goes even beyond that. If it finally seems that Dr. Makwarela could never have been a councillor, then he fraudulently or wrongfully so received a salary for about 13 months in that very high position. But it's worse than that. Section 23 of the Insolvency Act provides that if you're insolvent, and while you're insolvent, if you receive any income, that money should be used to pay the creditors. It can't be for your pocket. It must be used to pay the creditors because you're insolvent. So there are all kinds of implications playing out here now, but we will need clarity. I know that the municipal manager has referred this new attempt to prove the so-called rehabilitation to the legal department of the city, and they're investigating that. From the multi-party coalition process, we're all doing exactly the same, and we hope to have all the answers within the next 24 to 48 hours.
All right. Dr. Mulder, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, we will get Dr. Makwarela in to give us clarity around this particular matter. That was FF Plus leader and Tshwane Coalition spokesperson, Dr. Corné Mulder.